Musgrove.
Mr Chair, just a couple of points before we go on to part two. I too have read this theory, and it comes from around abortion. It comes from a book called Freakonomics, and it shows where the ACT Party get the basis of their policy and their ideas, doesn't it? I think the name of the book is very apt when it comes to that party. The second point I'd make is I think there's enough evidence around the world to show that crime does go down as unemployment decreases, because I'll tell you why. People, well, take your own advice and pull your head in, Mr Garrett. You're good enough to tell one of my colleagues to do that, so breathe through your nose, as a member once said. A contributing factor to crime decreasing is unemployment, because I think this might be logical. If you've got a job and you earn money, you're less likely to jump through somebody's window and steal their stereo and mug them for their money to get food or to do a crime. There might be some sort of tangible logic around that, and I didn't read that from Freakonomics. I'll tell you what is logical, sir, as we refer to part two, because I'd hate to transgress your authority. Is if you look, sir, the most damning indictment on this Act comes from the Minister of Police and Corrections, who sits in the chair. Who yes, you're right, it's a bill. Who on the 16th of December 2009, thank you, Mr Finlayson, who on the 16th of December 2009, in a cabinet paper from the Minister of Police and Corrections, entitled Changes to the Sentencing and Parole Reform Bill, the Ministry of Justice has noted the following, and I quote, "The deterrence effect of the three-stage regime is uncertain. The proposals will add substantial direct costs to the justice system without creating any significantly improved outcomes in terms of reducing the drivers of crime, improving social outcomes, or if you just to go to the quote from, if you don't care about any of that, and I'll go back into the quote, or reducing reoffending and victimisation." That's what it says. That's what it says, and that quote comes directly from a cabinet paper via the Minister of Police and the Minister of Corrections. Now, Justice wasn't allowed to participate in the amended bill. So whilst Mr Garrett quotes Freakonomics and other sort of mystical naysayers around the place for his logic, I'll quote the Minister's own cabinet paper. And the Minister's own cabinet paper is the most damning indictment on the bill itself, because they are her officials, it is her cabinet paper, because she took this bill over from the Minister of Justice and the Ministry of Justice, because, well, he may not have wanted to touch it with a barge pole, that says more about him, but the Ministry has been prevented, the Ministry of Justice, and let's be clear, this is a justice bill. And it is a justice bill because senior police officers in the Select Committee, when I asked them, what if we did a review of this bill in some years' time? Presumably you, police, as lead advisors on this bill, would be the people to do it. They said, oh, no, we're not equipped to do that. Justice are the ones that have to do it. That's what they said. That's what they said. So we can bandy statistics around any way we like. We can quote from Freakonomics and other sort of psychedelic texts, or we can actually quote from the cabinet paper submitted under the Minister's name, and quote from that, and I'll read it again for the record. Quote, "The deterrence effect of the three stages regime is uncertain. The proposals will add substantial direct costs to the justice system without creating any significantly improved outcomes in terms of reducing the drivers of crimes, improving social outcomes, or reducing reoffending and victimisation." Now, I would have thought that reducing reoffending and victimisation is what we are probably about here. That's what I would have thought. But if our own department says that's doubtful, if our own corrections department has assumed that it doesn't have a deterrent value at all, then I say we've got a problem here. I say we have a problem. And the arguments that were put forward by this side in respect of Part 1 are the same in respect of Part 2. We do not believe it will deter crime. We do not believe that this bill will actually work. And as the Minister sort of in her own flippant way in Part 1, didn't actually give an analysis of the amendments, just said, oh, we're not supporting those because we don't want the opposition coming to us with any ideas. So you got Mr Garrett who said he wanted a sort of an advanced copy to read them in between chapters of Freakonomics. And then you've got the Minister who says, we don't actually want the opposition to come with any amendments or any ideas at all. We're not prepared to listen.
Mr. Chair.
Honourable
Oh, we've got around.
Oh, Mr. Chair, we've got...